Welcome back to A Better Way of Earning, where work, life, leadership, and money come together to help you build success on your own terms. I am your host, Dr. Michelle S. Thomas, and today we're talking about something that can change the direction of your career, your business, your confidence, and even your future opportunities relationships. Now, when many people hear the word networking, they immediately feel uncomfortable. They imagine walking into a room full of strangers, handing out business cards, trying to sound impressive, and hoping someone important notices them. But this is not the kind of networking we're talking about today. Today, we're talking about authentic relationship building. We are talking about learning how to connect with people without feeling fake, forced, or transactional. Because the truth is this: opportunities often travel through people, jobs, mentorship, clients, collaborations, referrals, partnerships, sponsors, and recommendations rarely appear out of nowhere. Many times they come through relationships that were built before there was ever a formal request. So, in this episode, we're going to challenge the public playbook around networking, unpack the success blockers that keep people isolated, and introduce practical tools that help you build relationships with confidence, sincerity, and purpose. Let's get started. Public playbook tells us networking is collecting cards and people's information. It tells us networking is about working the room, promoting ourselves, collecting contacts, and trying to get close to the people who might be able to help us one day. But that version, my friends, of networking often feels exhausting because it treats people like stepping stones instead of human beings. But that version of networking often feels exhausting because it teaches us to treat people like stepping stones instead of human beings. It turns relationships into transactions and makes connection feel like performance. The better way is different. Networking is building trust before you need something. It is learning, listening, contributing, following up, and becoming someone people remember for the right reasons. When becomes relationship building, the pressure changes. You no longer have to pretend to be someone you're not. You simply have to become more intentional about noticing people, valuing people, and staying connected in meaningful ways. Success blocker number one: validation seeking. Validation seeking happens when we enter relationships trying to prove we are impressive enough, successful enough, connected enough, or important enough to be accepted. When validation is driving us, we may overtalk, name drop, exaggerate, or compare ourselves instead of listening. We become so focused on how we are being perceived that we miss the opportunity to be present. The antidote is grounded confidence. You do not need to enter every room trying to prove your worth. You can enter the room with curiosity, humility, and the belief that you have value to offer while also having something to learn. Success blocker number two: fear of rejection. Fear of rejection says, what if they ignore me? What if I look awkward? What if they do not respond? That fear can keep gifted people from reaching out, following up, asking questions, or allowing others to know who they are. But rejection is not always personal. Sometimes people are just busy. Sometimes the timing is wrong. Sometimes the relationship simply is not aligned. A lack of response does not mean that you lack value, which brings us to success blocker number three, comparison. Comparison makes us believe everyone else is farther ahead, better connected, more polished, or more deserving of opportunity. It can cause us to shrink back from the rooms we actually belong in. But your network does not have to look like anyone else's network. Your relationships should reflect your values, your work, your interest, your community, and your growth journey. Finally, success blocker number four, limited trust. Limited trust often comes from past disappointments. Maybe someone used your kindness. Maybe someone only reached out when they needed something. Maybe you have seen networking done in manipulative ways, and now you're hesitant to open the door to new relationships. Wisdom is very important. Boundaries are important, but isolation is never protection forever. Healthy relationships are built slowly through consistency, respect, mutual effort, and time. Our core question for this week is, how do authentic relationships create opportunities that resumes never will? A resume can summarize your experience, but a relationship can carry your reputation into rooms you have not entered yet. A resume can list your qualifications, but a person can say, I know how they work. I trust their character. I've seen their commitment. I believe they're ready. This is why relationships matter. They create visibility, credibility, context, and access. They help people understand more than what you have done. They help people understand how you show up. Our knowledge builder number one, the relationship investment model. Great relationships require four investments: curiosity, consistency, contribution, and connection. Curiosity means that you are genuinely interested in who people are, what they are building, what they care about, and what they are learning. Curiosity moves networking away from self promotion and towards real conversations. Consistency means relationships are not built from one impressive interaction. They are built through repeated moments of relatability, reliability, follow up, encouragement, and presence. Contribution means that you look for ways to add value before asking for value. Sometimes that means sharing a resource, making an introduction, offering encouragement, supporting someone's work, or simply listening well. And connection means you remember that professional relationships are still human relationships. People want to be seen, respected, and valued, never used. When you invest in relationships this way, networking becomes less about collecting contacts and more about building trust over time. Let's talk about how you give before you ask. The strongest professional relationships often begin with service, not request. Now, giving before you ask does not mean allowing people to take advantage of you. It does not mean working for free forever or proving yourself endlessly. It does mean approaching relationships with generosity, not entitlement. Ask yourself, how can I be useful? How can I encourage? How can I connect someone to information, insight, or opportunity? How can I show up with integrity before I ever need to make a request? Because when people experience you as someone who contributes, follows through, and treats relationships with respect, trust begins to grow. And trust is one of the strongest currencies in any career. Almost all opportunities arrive through relationships, jobs, mentors, clients, business partners, investors, sponsors, recommendations, referrals, collaborations, and invitations into rooms you may not have ever known existed. This does not mean qualifications do not matter. They do. But relationships often determine who knows about your qualification, who trusts your work, and who is willing to put your name forward when an opportunity appears. Research on professional networks has long pointed to the power of weak ties. The acquaintances, former coworkers, community contacts, and people outside your close circle who often connect you to new information and new opportunities. Your closest circle may care deeply about you, but they may know many of the same things you already know. Wider relationships can expose you to new rooms, industries, conversations, and possibilities. That is why maintaining relationships matter. A former colleague, classmate, client, volunteer partner, community member, or casual professional contact may one day become a bridge to information, encouragement, mentorship, and opportunity. And I just want to tell you, like, this opportunity or this situation happened to me just this week. Um, as you guys know, I have launched our A Better Way of Earning talk show. And so, going along in this process and thinking about and evaluate people to do these interviews with, something came across my mind this past weekend. I was thinking about how to really reach rooms that I have normally not had access to, um, important rooms, people that can change policies, people that can really impact, especially the small business owner and the entrepreneurs and in the spaces that I spend a lot of time in. I don't want to just talk about things. I want to have a real lasting impact that can help communities and people abroad. And so it was just kind of a fleeting thought of, okay, just let's put a note in my little ever growing note file of things to really research and dive right into. And today, as I was preparing to record this episode, a text message came through my cell phone. A young lady that in passing at an event that I spoke on stage at about 3 or 4 years ago. She is a representative in the Capitol. And again, literally met this woman at this event. We exchanged information. We talked about reconnecting. And, she learned a little bit about what I was doing, especially with my entrepreneur incubator programs and where my goals were. And then we just kind of parted ways almost 4 years ago. She sent me a text today and she asked me if I had time this Friday to attend an event at the Capitol that is reserved for journalists only, but she would put my name at the door for me to have the opportunity to sit in this short meeting and have conversations with the people, the policyholders, the Congress people, the senators, the people that are making actual differences. And this was phenomenal for me. It did not come from a solicitation. I didn't ask for this. This was just a person that I met in passing that we had an impact on each other at the time. And throughout the years, I think I've conversated with her or texted back and forth with her with some other circumstances. And she had asked about a young entrepreneur that she was helping if my husband and I, can help get them in the door of the baseball team. And so, again, these are just kind of general conversations or whatever. And I never asked for anything, but I became a resource for her. Being that resource, then later on, out of the blue, has now afforded me the opportunity to walk into the Capitol and have conversations and share space with the very people that I had hoped to have access to when I started this journey. So, again, in this podcast, I don't just talk to you about things that I Googled or looked up or someone told me about. I ensure and try to make sure that I pass on the tips, the tools, the information that I have learned along my journey in the hopes that it will help you to improve your process and build your better way of earning. So I just want to just kind of give you that little bit of information about how being that resource can, out of the blue, turn up and open up doors for you that you weren't even asking for, soliciting, or even requesting. So moving on, building relationships without feeling fake. If networking has ever felt fake to you or forced to you, I want to offer a way to reframe that process. Do not focus on impressing people, focus more on understanding people. You do not have to enter every conversation with a pitch. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is ask a thoughtful question, listen carefully, remember what matters to the other person, and follow up later with sincerity. Authentic networking sounds like, I really appreciated what you shared. This resource made me think of this situation. I saw your work and wanted to congratulate you. I would love to learn more about how you got into this field. Is there anything that you're working on that I can support or share? Those are some simple moments, but they build relational memory. People remember sincerity. They remember respect. They also remember who showed up without making every interaction about themselves. Knowledge builder number 4, the follow-up formula. Strong relationships often grow through simple follow up. Use this particular formula: notice plus appreciate plus add value plus stay connected. Notice means to pay attention to what the person has shared, created, asked, or care about. Appreciate means to acknowledge their insight, their work, their time, or contribution. Add value, share a resource, make a helpful connection, offer encouragement, or provide support. Now, notice that I did not say promote yourself. You promoting yourself and what you've done in correlation to what they're doing is not adding value to them. It is taking attention off of them and now putting the shine back on you, which then adds a resistance to them if every interaction with you is always how you spend more time figuring out how to take their work, their value, and reflect it into yourself. And then finally, stay connected. Follow up without waiting until you need something. Those are organic relationships. Every once in a while, say hello, check on someone, put in your calendar people's birthdays. If you know that, put in the birthday and send them annually just a birthday wish. Those small things can build up and add up because not only does it show that you remember them, but it kind of keeps your name and your interaction with them at a forefront so that when opportunities do show up, they think of you. Follow up my friends, does not have to be complicated. It just has to be genuine. A short, thoughtful message can do more than a long, polished pitch if it reflects real attention and respect. And I just want to say, I get the fact that we are busy. I have two phones, and it is thousands of contacts in both phones. So am I do I have the ability to stay in touch with everybody on a consistent basis? Absolutely not. That is unrealistic, and that is not even something that anyone in today's time, the willpower, or the dexterity to be able to do. What I'm saying is use your social media, use your interaction, but organic follow up can only happen if you do one and two. If you pay attention to the person and what they shared, what they cared about, what they asked, what they delivered, and show appreciation. Those thoughts will pop up randomly as opportunities, or maybe something that you're doing will remind you of the conversation. At that moment, shoot them a text, send them a small email, and just say, "Hey, I was in a meeting today and someone said this that reminded me of something that you shared a couple of years ago in your presentation." Simple. What happens over time is when you do have to ask for something, or if you do need something, then these people won't just automatically be turned off, because the only time they hear from you is when you need something. And we all know how that feels. We have friends, relatives, people that just kind of show up in your life, and you already know when they coming in that, okay, here we go, because they need something. And as much as they try to smooge it over with maybe 30 seconds of a "how are you doing?" or "I was just thinking of you," they've shown you over time that that is only an intro into the request. So think of things go back to networking as being a human process. If you don't want people to only show up or text you or email you or call you when they want something from you, then let's not do it ourselves. Does that make sense? So, as I think about my own journey, I can honestly say that relationships have opened doors that I could not have opened alone. Not because I manipulated the room, not because I networked in a performative way, but because over time people saw how I worked, how I communicated, how I followed through, and how I cared about creating value. Some relationships became sources of encouragement, some became learning opportunities, some became collaborations, some became reminders to show that the right people can help you see possibilities you may not have ever seen within yourself. That's why I never want people to reduce networking to a strategy for getting ahead. Relationships are not just ladders, they are a part of how we grow, learn, serve, and become more connected to purpose. This week, inside of the Better Way of Earning community, I want you to reflect on this question: who has made the biggest positive impact on your professional journey? And here's the follow up question: have you thanked them lately? Sometimes rebuilding or strengthening your network begins with gratitude. Send the message, make the call, celebrate the person who helped you. Let people know that their presence, guidance, encouragement, or example matters. As we close today's episode, remember this: your network is not merely a list of names, it is a living collection of relationships, trust, visibility, encouragement, wisdom, and possibility. The public playbook may tell you that networking is about collecting contacts. Your success blockers may convince you to avoid reaching out because you fear rejection, comparison, or disappointment. But the better way is to build relationships with curiosity, consistency, contribution, and connection. Because when you build relationships before you need something, you are not just expanding your network, you are expanding your opportunity, your perspective, your confidence, and your capacity to contribute. Thank you again for joining me for a better way of earning, where work, life, leadership, and money come together, helping you to build success on your own terms. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep building relationships that allow your value and the value of others to be seen, supported, and connected to opportunity.